All right, thank you. All right, good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this, where are we, a regular meeting of the Town of Griswold Board of Finance to order April 21st, 2026 at 6:01 p.m. in the Town Hall Meeting Room. First item on the agenda is the roll call to order. All members are present with the exception of Gail Rook-Norman. We do have a quorum. Second item on the agenda is public forum. Does anyone wish to speak? Okay, then we're going to go to item 3, new business. 3A, work session on budget. As we begin tonight, we are currently at, I think, a 1.83 mill increase.
1.83 if you don't take the town cut.
Right,
Right now,
right.
1.69.
Okay, well, that's with the, right, that's
Yes,
once we
with the town cut
finalize
of
and enact
120.
all the cuts, right?
Yes.
So we'll be at a 169, that's at the 120. If you look on page, I don't know, what is it, page 4 or 5, 6, there is a list that says town cuts. Those are the cuts that the Board of Selectmen had come up with as we requested. What we need to do is we're going to motion, discuss, and vote on each line item separately. And that's probably a good place to start with those cuts, and then we can kind of see where we settle in, and if anybody wants to do anything further after we get to that point, or whether we want to just go to public hearing as is, knowing that we're going to have to come back and do some more work on it later on.
So are we taking their cuts as is?
So we have the option to discuss each and every one of them. We had charged the Board of Selectmen at our last meeting to figure out where they thought the cuts should come from.
Recommendations, correct?
Absolutely, because we were the ones that need to go ahead and then continue to craft this budget at this point. So these are all of the recommendations from the Board of Selectmen, which their total, they went deeper than the 120. I think their totals and their cuts are 160.
So, Mr. Chairman, we need to motion each one of these individually, so you want to do it?
Yeah, I think if we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do that, based on their recommendations, I think the cleanest way for us to do that would be just like if we hadn't asked them for their input and we were doing complete line item control on the budget process, we would motion, second it, we'll discuss it, then we'll vote on each one.
Mr. Chairman, before we get to that, I have a couple of just quick questions.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if someone from the Board of Selectmen can answer these questions for me. In looking over these proposed cuts, I've noticed that in two particular areas where where an increase was requested, that we didn't supply any cuts, such as the fire marshal's office, nearly doubling that, that item, and the building officials. Why were no cuts given there?
The fire marshal, both the fire marshal and the building inspector, I'll start with the building inspector, with potential progress coming into town. The building inspector has already, his increase in permits has gone up quite a bit, okay? With new projects coming in, it is going to require additional hours. The fire marshal, I know that there are calls on the weekends. He had 2 this past weekend.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I saw you grinning, I was wondering why. I know that his hours often exceed what he's allotted. we see his time card on a weekly basis, along with the building inspector. They are verified. Kelly, you go through, I go through. So I think it would be very difficult to cut the hours for those two positions. I think they're critical positions.
Only because I'm involved and I see on a regular basis. I know procedure is supposed to be, for a fire marshal in particular, that he is to respond when requested. That doesn't happen. He responds automatically to calls where he may not have been requested. So that, from the finance side, he's potentially billing hours where he wouldn't be needed. Or, you see what I'm saying? And I know that's a concern amongst many people because of his taking it upon himself to, just because a call goes out, that not every fire call requires a fire marshal to respond. But yet, he signs on the air without being requested, and that's charging the townspeople for a service that's not needed at that time.
Okay. I can speak to an incident last summer up at the pond, where we had there were out-of-town youth. There was a fire there, many complaints. He went down, he checked. I got a phone call one night, and the kids were there again with another fire, and I can tell you he stayed there for a number of hours with me, and pretty much did that without reporting it. He went above and beyond. As to what you're describing, as to him responding to calls that he shouldn't or there's no need for, I can't speak to that. Because
No, I'm just making a statement, so that, I don't know if there's a policy in place as that governs his response. But just coming from a financial aspect, that could potentially, it impacts the budget.
Well,
It does impact the budget. That's my only concern. And that's what if it didn't impact the budget, then so be it, you know? But it does, if we're making cuts, that we need to trim in all aspects, and that's one area that I'm familiar with. And I know it was brought to my attention also, so I was just wondering why there was no cuts there when there is room for cuts.
I mean, at least in my opinion, they are both critical positions.
Oh, no doubt, they're critical. But just because they're critical, I mean, the fire department's critical, and we're cutting there too. The highway, I mean, there's plenty of critical aspects in here that, but when it comes down to it, we have to look for areas that we can be more efficient. That's my only concern. So I was just looking for that clarification. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, anybody looking to jump in on this?
I'll make a motion to cut 60,000 from Department 1701 contingency, count 5850, count code 5850.
Do we have a second?
Second,
What does that bring that down to?
What,
50,000.
That
To
brings-
60,000?
Yeah, I mean,
I think it was
1701.
Was it 120, I think, earlier? Was it 120 to brought it from? 10, 20?
$110 it was,
59.
so we'll bring it down to last page of the book.
Do you want to know the full millage or just the percentage?
No, what's the, I think he wants to know the current balance. What's the current line item for that?
Started at 110.
Was it 110?
That was only,
Was that 1701?
7101.
It is, it's 110,000 right now.
110 now.
So that would bring us down to 50,000.
Yes.
So I'm going to participate in discussion only because this is budget time. I have concerns about bringing it down to 50,000. I think that while contingency may have been a little high, I don't know if we want to go quite that low and be that drastic in that cut. Look at the economic climate right now, number one. Number two, look at how lean these budgets are getting. I think that the likelihood of us having to hit contingency more than once is quite possibly a reality there. There's only so much that you're going to be able to absorb based on economic circumstances, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to continue to cut a lot of these other budgets. I just am concerned that 60 grand might be a little too steep. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, the original was 120,000 we asked the BOS to cut,
Correct.
and they cut 140.
They cut 160 total. All of those cuts there total 160.
That was 40 extra.
Yeah. Any other discussion?
If we were to consume, if we needed to consume more than the 60,000 in contingency, what would our options be?
What did you say?
If we needed to consume more than the 60,000, 50,000,
50,000, yep.
what are our options?
You would then have to have a vote if it's over a certain threshold.
So is that the
Or a line item transfer.
7,500, 20,000, 50,000? So up to 7,500, we can appropriate from the general fund 20,000.
Without a vote.
Over 20,000 has to go to town meeting, and over 50,000 has to go to referendum.
Yes.
Any other discussion?
Is there a value that you feel more comfortable with?
I don't know. I'm concerned that only 50,000 is cutting it a little too close. I mean, maybe somewhere around 70 or 75,000 might be a more realistic number. Hard saying, not knowing, but
We got a crystal ball.
that's right. But obviously, if we don't go with that, then obviously some of those other things are gonna come into play that perhaps weren't otherwise.
Right, and if we are short, we have to, for lack of a better word, jump through hoops to get a referendum, which is gonna cost us money to do that on top of it. Mr. Chairman, can I amend my motion?
Absolutely.
Can I amend my motion to cut 30,000 from contingency, in turn leaving 80,000 left?
Okay. Tom, are you the second?
Yes.
Would you like to amend your second?
I'll amend my second,
Okay.
and the second is evaluation is cut of around 80,000 left. How much was your cut?
30.
30,000.
Leaving 80,000.
I'll second this amendment to cut 30,000.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, we're going to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Would anybody like to make a motion on the public health and safety?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion on Department 1201, count code 5215, to cut $500.
Second.
Okay, first and second, any discussion? Hearing none, we're gonna vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion. Department 1302, tax collector, count 5204, cut $300.
Do we have a second?
I'll second
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, we're gonna vote, all in favor?
it. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion. Department 1303, assessor travel, count 5200D, cutting $500.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion. Department 1303, account 5204K, cut $600, assessor advertising.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion. Department 4103, account code 5610, cut $500 contributions.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, Department 4102, account code 5101, senior center salary, cut of $21,590.40.
I'll second that.
Okay, first and second, any discussion?
I have a question on that.
Absolutely.
That's a union position, correct?
Yes, sir.
Union ramifications for cutting it down to part-time.
Budgetary and on the recommendation of the senior center director after analysis.
Any further discussion? Okay, here now we're gonna vote.
If I may,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, and I know I'm gonna step on toes with this. I know for a fact, I have a concern that this is retaliatory.
Retaliatory for,
The individual is a relation to an individual who left the government, our former position, correct?
who is retaliating?
No, I'm just
Okay,
wondering
I'm
if,
gonna hold it there. There's gonna be
Okay.
no more discussion with regard to that.
oh, okay. All right, I'm just concerned about that.
You can be, but we're gonna look at the finances. That's our only role here. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to state that I am making these motions due to the fact that we asked the Board of Selectmen to look at the budget, to make these cuts in order for us to have recommendations from them. So as easy as I'm doing this, I'm still thinking about it, but I'm also thinking about how the Board of Selectmen spent their time, and I'm sure went through and talked to all the departments and did the best they could with what they had for what we're asking for, and we're still not at the number that we need to be at. So I appreciate the discussion, but in my mind, the Board of Selectmen made their decision. I think, look at these and make thoughts, but at the same time, we need to get to the number we need to be for the voters. So that's just so I can be clear on how I'm just going through this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing And then we're gonna vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion, Department 4102, Health, Account Code 5145, cut $36,235.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Just one quick question, obviously, after what I just stated, but I also want to ask the select woman that if that's a large cut, they can absorb that, in their opinion and your opinion?
Yes, Kelly and I worked on
Okay.
the figures.
Thank you, that's it.
Okay, any further discussion? And then we're gonna vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion. Account 4102, account code 5155, pension, cut of $8,800.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just a quick question, if I may.
Absolutely.
The health, pension, dental, FICA, that's all in response to reducing from full-time to part-time, correct?
Yes.
That's all corresponding. Okay, it's not anything above and beyond or
No.
savings we found somewhere
No,
else?
no,
Okay,
no,
I just wanted to be sure.
yeah, no
Thank
problem.
you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, we're gonna vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, account code 4102, or department, sorry, account code 5101, dental, $1,680, cut.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Mr. Chairman, Department 4102, account code 5150, FICA, cut of $1,651.67.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. Now, Kelly, do we need to, we need a motion to increase that
Unemployment.
particular?
Yeah,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, Department 7201, account code 5160, an add of $10,120.50. Second.
Any discussion?
Oh, what is that 59,000 that's next to it? Is that the
That's the
total
net, yeah,
of
yeah.
that group right there?
Yes.
Okay, I just, thank you.
Any other discussion? Vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I will continue. Department 1101, account code 5210, finance purchasing, cut of $630.
A second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, Department 1101, account code 5204, cut of $383.43.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, Department 1101, account code 5407, cut of $500.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, Department 1401, account 5120, cut of $2,500.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, Department 1501, account 5412, town clerk, cut of $2,500.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, Department 1701, account 5400, cut of $2,500.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, Department 3201, account code 5418, cut of $7,000.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, Department 3201, account code 5518, cut of $1,000.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, Department 3204, account 5425E, cut of $12,000.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, Department 3204, account 5210, cut of $350.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, Department 3204, account 5420, cut of $200.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, Department 3204, Department Code, account code 5424, cut of $200.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, Department 1801, account code 5234, cut of $5,000.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, Department 2201,
I'm sorry?
Can I change the next two for the fire department? They both reached out to me and they wanted to come out of stipends, not their supplies.
Okay.
So the first for AA Young would be 5517A, and then Griswold would be 5517. Thank you.
you're welcome. Mr. Chairman, Department 2201, account code 5517A, cut of $1,000.
I'll second it.
Okay. First and second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, I abstain.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, Department 2201, account 5517, cut of $1,000.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mr. Chairman, I abstain.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, Department 5301, account code 5214, cut of $1,000.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So that puts us at $130,000 worth of cuts. So what does that put us with at a mill rate then? Or a mill increase, I should say.
.69. Oh, no, a little more. A little more than that.
1.55.
1.55?
Thought we had 1.69 and now
Yeah,
we added,
Started
yeah.
at 1.69, so 1.69.
Well,
but you added it.
1.69, didn't that include the $120,000 in cuts?
Yes, it did, yes.
Yes, so,
Sorry.
so
120.
we cut an extra $10,000, so essentially we're only at, we're at a 169 roughly.
130, yes, correct.
Yep.
Yep.
Still 169?
So we're at 169. Yeah, that doesn't move the 10,000 doesn't really move the needle much. So, a couple of things. This is gonna kind of carry over into something else on the agenda. But two things that we were looking at that would have an impact, certainly general fund wise. Where do we stand with tuition and the shortfall?
Tuition, we're about 165 under.
About 165 short of what was projected for revenue? Okay. And how about landing the plane on the special ed deficit that we're running?
Right now, we're projecting about 180, but I think we will get there.
Okay. So somewhere between, we'll be good to 180. So worst case, we'll say 250. Roughly, I mean, yeah, roughly, yeah, okay.
That's for this year?
That's for the current year. So essentially, we would have to make that up with the general fund. So question for all of you from the board. The intent was to try to get a more, realistic budget when we go to public hearing. Certainly this is more realistic. We may not necessarily be exactly where we think we want to be. Do we want to continue to try to make cuts to be where we want to be, or do we want to go to public hearing as is? Obviously, we all know that we have another 2 or 3 meetings after public hearing to continue to work on the budget, but this provides, I think, a better, more clearer and realistic picture of where we're at versus what we initially had. One of the things that I don't know how accurate it is that there could possibly be some additional ECS funding coming our way. That's very unofficial, and you can consider me to be a rumor monger on all of this because I don't have anything official on that, but my understanding is there are some things in the works behind the scenes that there could be some sort of an 11th hour. I mean, let's be realistic though. We're in Eastern Connecticut. Hartford doesn't even know how to spell Eastern Connecticut, let alone know where it is. So the odds of us getting, a large chunk of what could be allocated is probably slim. But some is better than nothing. If it is the 11th hour, I think that the legislative session closes on the 6th of May, if I am not mistaken, and I could be wrong. But
Correct.
is that correct? All right, so if that's the case, our last meeting, I think we had slated was the 4th of May. I think quite likely we'll look to probably push our final meeting past that May 4th deadline, just to make sure that there isn't something that occurs in the 2 days that we're gonna meet prior to then. I'd rather be safe than sorry. So that could mean that things will be slightly delayed on what some of the timelines are, but it is what it is. I think if we're gonna be able to recognize some additional monies, then we're gonna have to push that off by a day or 2 or 3 or a week or whatever it's gonna be. So just to kind of put that on everybody's radar, quite likely the May 4th date will get rescheduled. So I guess let's kind of poll everybody. Where do you think you want to be? Do you want to go forward to public hearing where we're at now? Do you want to sit and try to make some more cuts, Mark?
I think there are more cuts that can be made.
Okay.
I added up all the variances on this $16 million so far. So, I'm, again, new to this process, so don't, but I think we can probably shave a little bit more. I mean, get it to closer to 1.5.
Okay.
Might
Do you have some ideas, some thoughts and ideas?
Well, I mean, we did cut some stuff. We still left a lot of money on the table, and it's still not spent. So I'm not sure, if we could shave it a little further. I don't know off the top of my head, but going through the book while she was looking at it, we were cutting 600 there, but there was still 2,000 on the table, so we still have 1,200. They haven't spent any money. I remember that stuck out. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think we should at least have something available to look at if we get to the referendum and it's kicked out, you know, so that's what I'm saying.
Okay, I mean, and certainly this is really preliminary. I mean, if we went to public hearing at a, you know, a 169 right now, that's not necessarily what we're going to go to town meeting with.
Yeah.
We're quite likely going to have to sit back and have another round of, you know, cuts or discussions regarding cuts, because I think that everybody's on the same page that we want it to be just a little lower than where it is now, but we don't necessarily have to get there for public hearing.
Well, I think this is a good start.
Okay.
I think we're in a good position. We've moved in a good direction, so I think knowing that, we can move forward.
Okay, Richard?
I don't have a problem with going to public hearing at 1.69. I just have one question. Eric or Glenn, ECS money, is that based on student population? At least it has been in the past. So it doesn't matter if you're in Eastern Connecticut or Western Connecticut, it's based on student
It's
population.
just part of the formula.
Part of the formula. The formula itself, they can designate to a city, we're gonna give you this much money, even though it's based on the percentage you can get.
Okay.
It's not, that's only a small piece of the formula. They don't seem to follow that formula.
Not surprised. Thank you.
In my comments, Richard, were largely
No, I've
meant
heard
on,
the same thing. you know.
if they allocate anything, it's not gonna be based on a reworking of the formula. They're gonna have some found money that's gonna
Oh, I
arbitrarily get
understand, but I mean,
distributed.
just basically, that's
Yeah.
how it's, I thought that was how it was formulated.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Personally, I would be okay with going to public hearing at the 169. I think that there is the general understanding amongst all of us that we're gonna need to do more work on it, but I think that preliminarily, I think it's a good place to start and listen to what the public has to say. The only one kind of takeaway that I have is just kind of more of a reminder, not necessarily for the board, but for everybody that is listening, including anybody that's associated with capital. What we did with capital this year was we funded all of those projects with the over by policy. So coming into next year's budget, when we get to that point, capital needs to start at $1.1 million. That's their floor where their budget process needs to start in order for us, how we funded it this year in order for that to work, so that we don't have a snowball. And if people don't, what I mean by that is the only thing we didn't supplant through over by surplus was town roads and bridges. So essentially, that would remain intact. That'll be the starting point when people bring their projects to capital for discussion and consideration. Those will then get added on top of that 1.1 million. Tom?
I'm okay, we're going to public hearing at the 1.69.
Okay. Rob?
I mean, obviously, that won't pass, and we're gonna have to do cuts, so are we just kicking work down the road that we could handle tonight, or I'll go with whatever the majority of the board wishes. But I mean, if we can do stuff tonight, unless people wanna look a little bit deeper for additional cuts to bring, but just from past experience, I think we're gonna have to be below. I have a feeling 1.5 won't even make it, that referendum. So, I mean, there's gonna have to be some deep cuts, and so.
Matt?
I'm fine with going and letting everybody have a chance to see where we're at and what's been done so far, and then we can actually get input. Maybe there's a large group that thinks 1.69 is okay, and we can make our recommendations from there.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, that GIS, what is that again? Is
It's
that the?
updating the assessor maps.
Okay.
So they're available on, the internet. We had, I forgot what the name of the company is, but we have a quote for 30,000.
Is that a recurring, will that be an every year thing? Is that a once?
Not that I was told of, that should be a one-time $30,000 to bring them up,
Can,
the maps.
can you just check on that for us to make sure that there will be no,
Yep,
Right.
I'll verify that.
and if there's any annual fees or whatever, what that's going to be, if that was part of that 30 grand?
Okay, yeah. I think Mario gave us a contract for that 30,000, but
Okay,
I'll find it and
Okay.
scan it to you.
okay, then, I guess we'll hold it at 169 for the hearing at this point, based on, general feedback from everybody.
You want a motion?
I don't know, do we need a motion for that?
No, you
I don't
did
think
each
so.
individual one, I think you're good.
Okay. Okay, is everybody satisfied? Are we good? We'll move on?
I'm good.
Okay, all right. 3B, Finance Director's Monthly Report.
You have the financial report in front of you. There are just a few items I wanted to bring attention to. We had an interview today for the grant writer, so that's good. We have another one next week. Our candidate today was really good, so I'm hopeful that we'll have this filled in May. Election registrar, their travel line item is over, and that's because we had a new, I want to say Republican registrar. I think it's a Republican, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he had to go out for, training, so that's the reason why that's running over. Patchogue Town Hall, the heating oil, obviously the cost has exceeded what we expected, so there's an overage of $359. Snow removal, the salt line item, that's above what we expected too. Morton Salt this year during the winter snowstorms ran short of their salt. So we had to then venture out to another supplier. So that's the reason why we were over. They ran out of their supply salt. Waste disposal tipping fees are over too, but we're gonna make that up in the revenue because we're gonna charge it back for the revenue. So you're gonna see that coming back to us. Senior center, health insurance is over a bit. It will be over. An employee change, and added health insurance on. That's part of the reason. Health department, Uncas Health is all paid for the year. So you'll never, it's over $320 just due to the contract, but there's nothing else that will be expensed out of that line item for the year. Planning and zoning, the advertising is over, and that's for the postings in the paper. The postings in the paper are very expensive, so that causes a bulk of when we go over. It's ridiculous. Recreation building repairs is over. They had no heat, I guess, on the second floor, so we had to have New England Service come out to repair it. So it's over $338. And then debt retirement, I just wanted to make note that we're not gonna pay any payments for the infrastructure for the USDA loan this year. It's not gonna be until next year, so you'll have a savings there in your debt. And you can see that on that debt page. And that's really it for operating expenses.
Mr. Chairman, I just got a quick question.
Go ahead.
With the advertising, that's mandated by the state that we have to advertise in paper,
Yeah, and the public.
even though newspapers
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, there's discussion about
I
that now.
mean,
Yeah, it's expensive, but yes, we
right,
do.
and there's nobody buying newspapers nowadays, I mean, except for a very handful,
why they're still in business.
right?
So we switched over from the Norwich Bulletin to the Day. The Day was cheaper than the Bulletin, so that's what we're trying. Yeah, the Day is cheaper than the Bulletin, so I don't know.
It just, it kind of makes no sense when people are online.
I know.
But there is discussion in Hartford on
Not having publicized in the
not having to publicize in the paper, so they're still discussing that in Hartford.
Oh, they are, okay.
And you're confident that at the end of the year, everything's gonna,
Under my expenses for the town, yes. Yeah.
okay. Okay. Any questions? Okay, 3C, discussion on possible future vacancy on the board. I put put that on there just to kind of bring everybody up to speed and so that everybody knows what the process is that hasn't been part of this process in the past. Rich Grabowski is going to be resigning from the board effective on July 1st. So what that means is that until July 1st comes and goes, nothing happens. When July 1st hits, I will call a special meeting for the purpose of filling that vacancy. In the event that we are a unique board, in the event that we are at an impasse and are not able to fill that vacancy because we cannot get a majority vote, that position will remain vacant until the next, this is where I'm gonna screw it up, special election, regular election, until the next election or whatever. I think it's the next regular election at that point. So it will remain vacant. There are a number of boards and commissions where if that position is not filled by that respective board or commission within 30 days, the Board of Selectmen has the authority to fill that vacancy. The Board of Finance is not one of those boards. Filling that position is unique to this board. I've been through this 1, 2, maybe 3 times as chair, and have gotten the proper legal opinions and all of that to make sure that we are on firm footing on that. So that is how that will work. But nothing will be done until after that July 1st date. And it'll have to be, like I said, we'll have to try to fill that via special meeting.
Scott, if I may add a little bit to that.
Absolutely.
When I wrote the letter of resignation, I had not read the letter from the town attorney and the state of Connecticut.
Okay.
And according to the ordinance that it was, not the ordinance, but the state statute that requires me to choose, it said I could stay until a replacement's been found. Am I correct?
Until a replacement is found.
So I said July the 1st, not knowing that that portion of the state statute allows me to stay on board until a replacement is found. Am I correct?
Yes, that came through.
So I'm willing to do that.
Okay. So I'm going to get together with you.
Looking at me.
I'm going to get together with you over the next couple of days because I need to have a conversation with the town attorney for some additional clarity, because procedurally, we
the way it's been
can't fill a vacancy until a vacancy exists. So what came first, the chicken or the egg? If he does not have to leave and he's willing to not leave until a suitable position is found, we can't fill it until such. I just need to know all of the legalese that's involved so that we do things the right way. So I will have a report back to everyone here on how that's going to work at our next regular meeting. So we have time. So we're gonna move on to 4A, old business, update from superintendent of schools fiscal year 25-26 budget. We kind of already touched on that. You don't have anything else to offer, do you? Okay.
We'll do 2 things.
Okay, perfect. All right, 4B, update on audit. Where do we stand?
I reached out to the auditor. Right now, she's waiting on some things from the Board of Ed, is what she told me. So once those are completed, then we can regroup.
Okay. So I'm gonna put you guys back on the spot. What are we waiting for, and what's the status on?
Primarily, it was trying to straighten out all the student activity funds,
Okay,
but I have them all done. I'll be sending them probably everything they need by the end of the week.
okay. So do we still have time? Are we good? Are we in danger of not having the audit completed by, what is it, the June 30th deadline or whatever it is there, where we get reported to the state?
I would think we'll be done by June 30th, correct, Eric?
Yeah.
You were confident saying that too? Yeah,
Okay,
yes.
okay. All right. Item 5, any other business to come before the board? Anybody have anything? Okay, then we'll move on to item 6, public forum. Does anyone wish to speak? Matt?
Have some info on your AV system as requested.
Perfect.
So, after much, well, I guess Matt Daniel, Paul Tyler Terrace, after slowly going through it on my own, and then after that last meeting, going much deeper down the rabbit hole, I can safely say we can put in a relatively user-friendly system that will meet all of our needs with clear streaming, audio and video, that will enable us to pull that video and run it through a transcription service that will provide verbatim meeting minutes for the secretaries who need them, to review, of course, and make sure that they're accurate and correct and all of that. For what I expect to be a max dollar amount of $15,000, and that is pretty much all of the bells and whistles. That's me bringing in a consultant to do the actual setup for us. That system will be transportable. It will not be super easy to transport. We're looking at a couple of options where maybe we could have a satellite part of the system. So, for example, the microphones and mic cables would stay here on those seats. And this system will include 2 high-def cameras, one that will give us a wide view of whatever board is sitting, the other which will give us a view of the audience. It gives us picture-in-a-picture capability so that the audience view is just a small part of it, but the majority of it is the board. There will be 8 microphone channels in the mixer, so each board member will have, like the gooseneck mics that do sit there now and connect to the massive mixer that's under the table. But that sound will get routed directly into the stream to give you clear audio, because I think everybody can generally hear what's happening in this room. You know, there's no need for speakers. And effectively what that system will do is it will live maybe on a table somewhere right in front of the desk as far as the power system in the mixer. And you will have an on switch, and then you will have a button that says on air, and a light will turn on. And then you'll be live straight to YouTube, and that will be the end of it. That's where we're at right now. But I would say a maximum of $15,000 will get us all the equipment that we need. And that includes cases to carry these items if we need to take them out, you know, storage, all that different stuff. Some extra, you know, an extra microphone port and wireless microphone for public comment, and a lapel mic for presenters who are coming in here to say, let's say, present to planning and zoning. You need to be able to, you know, move about the room and show off their blueprints and different things. So safely under the $50,000 mark that we originally allocated for the project.
Great.
So that's going to leave you some wiggle room in capital.
Awesome. Are you confident that this will be able to be pulled off in this current fiscal year?
We're gonna, the contractor that I'm working with is also a vendor for a lot of these products because of what he does for a living. He has priority access to some of these things. So he and I have been working to put together this list. We've almost finalized basically what the appropriate tweaks to the system will be for our uses. I would expect us to be able to purchase these products probably within the next month to be set up and done with it well before our June deadline.
Outstanding. Great. So we'll have to remember to pull that money out of the budget at one of our next meetings.
Does that include a monitor on the back wall? So if there's anything being presented there, we can see it? Anybody who's sitting up here, is that not?
It doesn't, but that's, I mean, for $300, we could probably get another TV and put it over there for you guys.
Well, I mean, for any of the boards that sit in here, because, I mean, this presentation, I just think when they have it up at the school, there's one for the audience and then one for the board members, so they can see what's being presented.
I
Otherwise,
don't see any reason why we couldn't do that.
Okay, I just didn't know if that was included, that's.
Yeah, I think most of these will allow you to kind of loop, you know, just run a longer HDMI cable maybe around the perimeter of the room to another TV. I mean, I can confirm, sure my guy would be able to help us with that as well. But if that's something that we feel would be beneficial. I mean, that is true, you do kind of have to, you know, if somebody's presenting on the screen there, you have to kind of turn around and, you know. I know Sean's here with the slideshow. Yeah.
Right.
None of you guys were really looking at it until the audience was. So, yeah, I mean, we can certainly incorporate that, we have the wiggle room for it.
That's great news. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, good job, Matt. You put a clock back there.
Any public forum? Is that where we're at? Public forum? I lost my place. Anyone else wish to speak? Lori?
Yeah, Lori Sorter, 67 Ashland Street. I just want to say, first of all, thank you, everybody, for the hard work. It's crazy times all the time, but attending this meeting and listening to the proposed cuts and the discussion, that came of it, as an audience member, I have no idea what you just cut. When you read the numbers, I don't know what that means. So I don't know if there is, a little subtitle or something that goes along with that, but I have no idea what, most
Okay.
of those things that were in.
Good
There's
point.
a list,
Yeah.
I can share it with you.
Good
Yeah,
point.
and that's fine, but I'm just saying, sitting in the meeting,
Right,
you just
right.
didn't know,
No,
so.
good
I'm
point.
just pointing that out.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, then we'll go on to the final item, adjournment.
Mr. Chairman, motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, all in favor? We are adjourned.
Hard work tonight, while you guys are watching.
I asked if you wanted.
Oh, no, that's, that's